Alright, today we got the first cards for Clan Collection, which are the Royal Paladin cards that were used by Kai. So let's begin. But first, last of the cards for set 2. Let's begin with the Dragon Empire cards, with the encounter cards, the first one being Berserk Dragon. It's a rare, grade 2 with 10k power and skills. Auto rearguard, when this card attacks, if your Vanguard is Overlord, this card gets plus 5k power until the end of that battle. Then, cost combat 1, choose one of your opponent's grade 2 or less rearguards and retire it. Not bad, especially in premium, it gives you more retire options, and this one's a 15k beater on its own, so at least you don't need to be relying on boosters, which Overlord isn't heavily relying on rearguards. Next, Dragon Monk Gojo. Grade 1, 8k power and skills. Auto rearguard. When the attack that this unit boosts as a Vanguard hits, cost retire this unit and countercharge 1. Normally, I would not like attack hit skills, but luckily, your overdressed version of Dragonic Overlord can guarantee to hit a rearguard thanks to its skill. So you have no counterblast and this boosts an Overlord and hits a rearguard, which is guaranteed because Overlord's skill makes it where your opponent cannot guard the attack, so meaning only blitz orders, which is usually not very likely. This is essentially guaranteed to activate. But in that, many other Overlord decks cannot really even utilize this. But it can give some attack hit pressure though. Continuing off to Dark States, we start off with a double rare, Wild Master Darius, grade 2, 10k power and skills. Auto rearguard. When this card attacks, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, cost counterblast 1, soul charge 1, this unit gets plus 5k power until the end of that battle. If you have 3 or more rearguards, this card gets plus 10k instead. It's an okay soul charge card and it also gets some power, so at least it's able to hit on its own. And based on its skill requiring 3 or more rearguards, I do see this card have a potential use with the next ride line. Next, we got triple rare Crimson Expeller. Grade 2, 10k power and skills. Auto rearguard, when this card attacks the Vanguard, soul charge 1. Nice free soul charging. But second skill, Axe Soul, counterblast 1. Put this card to your drop zone, soul charge 1. Then choose one of your Vanguards, it gets plus 10k power until the end of turn. So basically replaces itself from soul with a soul charge and plus an additional 10k. And not only that, you get a free soul charge just by attacking. The important part is really the second skill, because Dark States tends to be the nation that's going to be soul charging a lot. And one of the cards that will happily like to be soul charged is this one, because this one has its second skill where you can give your Vanguard additional 10k just by replacing its soul. Which can be very helpful because decks like Bruce, for example, cannot really muster that much power on his own, so that additional 10k can be very helpful. And then we go to Cater Sanctuary. First we start with a double rare, Stereo Razor Angel, grade 2, 10k power and skillless. Auto rearguard, when this card attacks, if your damage zone has no face-up cards, this card gets plus 5k power until the end of that battle. Don't bother with this one, and I do not even know why this is a double rare. This seems to be like an alt mile, except we don't have an archetype like alt mile in Sanctuary now, do we? Next to the encounter cards, Darkness Maiden Maka. It's a rare grade 2 with 10k power and it's skillless. Auto, when placed on rearguard, if your Vanguard is Blaster, this card gets plus 5k power until the end of the turn. Then cost Soul Blast 1, retire another rearguard, look at the top 5 cards from your deck, choose one grade 1 or less from among them and call it to rearguard. My main gripe about this card is that you have to sacrifice one of your rearguards to play this skill. Yes, you can sacrifice one of those useless units for one actual useful units from the top 5, but still relies on RNG for that. But at least that we do have some good grade 1 targets in this deck. Like the next one, Black Sage Karen, which is grade 1 with 7k power and skillless. Auto, when placed on rearguard, if your Vanguard is Blaster, cost rest this unit, look at the top card of your deck, and call it to rearguard if it's a unit card, but leave it at the top if it isn't, and then at the end of the turn, retire that unit. So essentially it gives you a temporary +1, which is nice because you want to fuel as much rearguards as possible for your Phantom Blaster Dragon to sacrifice. So instant 4-up. But speaking of blasters, our last card, which is a rare, Witch of Entertainment Branda. Grade 1, 5k power, and it's skillless. Count rearguard. If your Vanguard is Blaster, when this card will be retired by a card ability, you can count it as 2 retires. Of course, any card that counts as multiple retires for a specific cost for your deck is very good. But what's specifically good about this one is that it's a 5k unit, meaning if you play this in Premium, it's a Nemen target. Sure, it is restricted to the Blaster deck, but Nemen is mainly made with Blasters, even if it's generic. So there's no reason not to play 4 of these in your deck. Although in Premium you can probably fluctuate the numbers a little bit. And now to the Tuesday stream, our first card will be Knight of Warhammer Augustus. Grade 1 AK power and skills. Auto Rearguard. When this unit boosts a Blaster Blade unit, costs Counterblast 1, discard a card, and then the boosted unit gets 5k power plus 1 drive into the end of that battle. No, if you boost the Rearguard Blaster Blade, it does not get a drive check. But if you have Ganslot, it will, because the Blaster Blades are counted as Vanguards. But damn, this skill is quite powerful. 1, it can be any Blaster Blade unit, especially now that we got Seeker Blaster Blade, that's another Blaster Blade card. We also have cards like I said earlier, Ganslot, which will turn your Blaster Blades into Vanguards, and because they're not all Vanguards, they all have drive check, and this just gives your Blaster Blade an additional drive check, now Vanguard Blaster Blade Twin Drive, and possibly a crit I might add. But also there's premium applications too, because remember, Blaster Blade Exceed exists, which is a grade 3 Blaster Blade. And since you're going to be striding on top of the Blaster Blade Exceed, well, it becomes the hard card, which your new stride unit will also get the name of the hard card, meaning that card will also count as Blaster Blade Exceed, which means that you can boost this with the G unit and give that G unit quadruple drive. And if you were to play Alfred Holy Saber and give your Blaster Blade Twin Drive, well, you just turned that Blaster Blade into triple drive. So yeah, that first skill itself is quite insane. But its second skill, Auto Backward Rearguard. Once per turn, at the end of the battle that your Vanguard attack, stand this unit. Pretty obvious that Thing Saber Dragon is going to be a multi-attack Vanguard, so obviously it's going to be a multi-boost. But what's nice is that it says at the end of the battle that this card attacked, so meaning that you can also use this card for Sanctuary Guard, because if for some reason you're using your rear guards to attack first, like you would do with Jewel Knights, and you use this to boost, well, after when your Sanctuary Guard attacks, this will be either in the right or left column, you could stand the unit, which will fulfill Sanctuary Guard's condition of resting 3 stood back row rear guards that are grade 1s. And it's also very nice for decks that use multi-attack with their rear guards. So yeah, overall, it's a very strong grade 1, at least for your Blaster Blade deck mainly. Next, we go to the mate of Thing Saber Dragon, Blaster Blade Seeker, which is grade 2 with 10k power and skills. Auto, when placed on Vanguard Rearguard, cost discard a card from hand, choose one of your opponent's front row rearguards and retire it. Then choose one Vanguard with Seeker in its card name with grade equal or less than your opponent's Vanguard, and its original crit becomes 2 until the end of the turn. Alright, pretty nice. 1, it doesn't cost a counterblast, which can be an issue. It is just a standard front row retire, just like the other Blaster Blade, but what's nice is that it also gives a Seeker a crit, which could also be itself if you wrote it, although you would have to go second for that extra crit for this one. And 3, it is nice that it's both Vanguard and Rearguard, because if you're playing this with Premium, you got the original Thing Saber Dragon just to Legion with it and it will be placed on Vanguard, but you're not going to really want to do that because you want to play the new one, but still. And the Rearguard part is obviously for the new Thing Saber Dragon. But also it has a second skill where Auto Rearguard at the end of the battle that this card attacked, if you did not ride this turn, cost, put this unit to the bottom of the deck and draw a card. This is actually to replicate Soulmate Legion a little bit, because obviously Legion doesn't exist in V, so they're going to have another way to bring back that Blaster Blade to do another dual attack. And spoiler alert, both skills pretty much set up for Thing Saber Dragon itself, because Kai's Royal Paladin Dragon, Seeker Thing Saber Dragon, is a grade 3 with 13k power with the skill of Auto, when this card is placed on Vanguard, Counterblast 1, search your deck for 1 Blaster Blade Seeker and call it to Rearguard. And then until the end of the turn, it gets plus 10k power for every force marker you have. Obviously, this is Thing Saber Dragon we're talking about. It's good to superior persona ride itself multiple times, so you're going to be building up those force markers. And obviously, this skill is just to replicate the Legion, and because you call Blaster Blade Seeker, you can use its skill to retire one of your opponent's rearguards and give this card an extra crit because of that. And Blaster Blade Seeker itself, an additional 10k for every force marker. But second skill is the main skill, Auto Vanguard. At the end of the battle that this card attacked, if you did not ride this turn, cost Soul Blast 3, choose 4 cards from your drop zone and return them to the deck, search your deck for 1 Secret Thing Saber Dragon and ride it as stand. So superior persona ride, and Soul Blast 3 just like the Legion era. And because you perform this move, you will get another imaginary gift, and because you just placed it on Vanguard, its first skill can activate, where you can call the Blaster Blade Seeker from your deck, which the Blaster Blade Seeker itself can put itself back to the bottom of the deck. And now, since Blaster Blade Seeker was just called again, you can use its skill to kill one of your opponent's rear guards and also give this card one additional crit. And what's really nice is that this card does not lose any drive checks for using this second skill, meaning you can essentially afford Blaster Blade Seeker's retire skill with additional crit. Now the only problem is that the second skill requires 3 Soul Blasts, so you will need to Soul Charge a little bit, and it does require you not to ride during the turn. Yes, this is also to prevent multiple superior rides in one turn, but it is quite a late game finisher, and early game it doesn't really do much. Those are pretty much my only gripes, but overall, pretty awesome. Plays back very similar to the Legion counterpart, and honestly, I'm glad that this card is finally getting made for V ever since Arc Saver Dragon was remade for V. Because there was Soul Saver, Arc Saver, but without Thing Saver, which was supposed to be the 2 Guardian Dragons that would stand next to Arc Saver. So that's it for these reviews. What do you guys think about the new Thing Saver Dragon and its support cards? The grade 1's pretty insane for your Blaster Blade deck, especially in Premium, where you can actually do quite a bit of shenanigans. The Thing Saver Dragon and Blaster Blade Seeker are pretty nice, especially replicating back its old Legion era. But the only thing that really bothers me is that why don't they just use regular Blaster Blade? I mean seriously, they essentially got rid of the archetype names for V. And if they were going to just make Blaster Blade Seeker, why don't they just make Blaster Dark Revenger? You know, because there's enough Revengers to make an actual archetype in V, and now they're actually making it into an actual archetype in V, but there's still no Blaster Dark Revenger. Because you know, they're supposed to be opposites. I'm just saying. But anywho, that's it for today, and see you all next time.